Well, what's the crack, everybody? How are you getting on? Welcome to another episode of the Tom and Mahony Show. How are you keeping? Are you well? Jeez, you're looking well. It is Friday the 28th of Christ, what is it? June. You're all very, very welcome. Powerful to have you. Of course, the Patreons got this last night, ad-free, the whole shagging lot. And you know what to do. Support the shows and all the rest of it. But most importantly, next gig's up. The gig this weekend, 2 gigs this weekend with today's guest. Wouldn't you believe it? Myself, herself and Neil Delamere are doing 2 shows over at my comedy club in Kerr, County Tipperary. The Hill Comedy Club. Yeah. And if you want to catch more of me and Delamere... Oh wait, that one's absolutely... Actually, wait. The late one is all sold out on Saturday, and there are a handful of tickets. As I record this, there's a handful of tickets left. I think there's 12 tickets left for the early show. The one in Dungarvan, a week or 2 later with Della, is absolutely sold. I don't know why I'm telling you. Look at, follow me on all the usual platforms, lads, and I'll tell you where I'm playing next. But look, 'tis good news, 'tis great support from the Patreons. Of course, we had a live ramble pod the other night, which was powerful. It was me and a gang of the lads all just shooting the shit, you know what I mean, having the crack. And as simple as that, I think it's a $3 or $4 a month, I think it's all it is. You sign up, you get the ad-free content, and you get the ramble pods midweek, and we get do the live ones every couple of weeks, purely for the Patreons. So, you know, there's the videos as well. So if that's your bag, then go for it. But moving on to today's guest, most importantly, she is a comedian, a very, very funny comedian. She is a podcast host. Technically, I suppose in her remit, she is a radio host too, and a very good actor. She's been on before. She could be on every week. She's absolutely class. I don't think we're related, but sure, look at. Here's Laura O'Mahony. Straight in, Laura. How are you?
Hello.
We were normally I have a natter, but Laura's one of them people you don't have to have a natter with. It's literally just go, because the natter is what the podcast is anyway. Really,
exactly. Nattering is all I've got.
You're looking tremendous.
Oh, stop it! I think I'm in good light, and I'm not pregnant. It makes a ferocious difference. When you
I always said it myself. I was the same way myself.
They steal your beauty, apparently. Well, apparently the girls steal your beauty and the boys make you more beautiful. So I've had 2 boys, so they've done their job well.
There you go. Isn't pregnancy full of all that old shite talk? Like it's and you've to listen
shite talk. And you end up, my thing is, you end up saying it yourself. Like I find when I meet people, I'd be like, oh, you're carrying it very, very high. It must be a boy. And I'm like in my head going, you're a fucking idiot. But it just passes on from generation to generation. I think it's important to note as well, though, Tom, that I am sitting down now. As somebody that's had 3 sections, you're getting the good top view. Like if I stood up, I'm just a mess below the belly button. Do you know what I mean? There's no saving that area. I am what I am.
The gearbox is unrecoverable, says you.
Well, the fanny is still intact, but
of course, the gearbox is in good nick, but the roof is
in good nick. But it's a convertible.
You're after rolling the thing a few times across the field now.
Fucking hell, I tell you, those abdominal muscles, there's just no recouping them after 3. They're done. They're done for.
It was a decision one, like day one, to go, sure, look, we'll just go straight in. I know they didn't put a door there, but let's fucking cut a door there.
I know. Who thought, Caesar. Obviously,
Caesar, of course, yeah. Caesar thought it was a good idea, but in all fairness, like, you go, we're going in the front door. That's
Caesar,
it.
You mad fucker! Put down that knife.
But do you know what? Caesar for sure would have shopped in B&Q. Not a builder's providers, B&Q, because he'd give it a go.
Yeah, he'd give anything a go. And I noticed this time on my third. So this is my third section. I noticed this time that I knew the consultant, right? So the first 2 times I went public. So it's like, it could be anyone rooting around in there.
Yeah.
The third time, fellas off the street. The third time, I had met the consultant many, many times. And when he was doing the section, I felt like he was kind of going, what do you think of this? Am I doing good? He was really pleased with his handiwork. He was kind of like, oh, I did that very well there. Got a big load of scar tissue removed for you. He was so proud. And I was quite proud of him as well. It was a lovely experience.
What are they, what are the key things you're looking for in a consultant? Tiny hands?
Gentle hands,
Yeah.
gentle hands, calm disposition.
Yes.
This fella also says slán when you leave the room, which I appreciated that little bit
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Irish.
that's
I'm like,
nice. That's nice.
it leads me to believe he has a rich inner life. Um, yeah, he was everything you'd want. If you were to draw and imagine a consultant, he was it.
Yeah,
Just wouldn't was on for a small bit of crack, but not too much crack. You know,
yeah,
you could make a joke and he'd appreciate it, but he wouldn't be like howling over your vagina.
yeah. Because at the same time, he's thinking that's hundreds of euros falling off the invoice if we become friends there. So yeah.
Exactly. No, he was lovely. And actually my favorite part of the section this time, I don't know how we've gone straight into C-sections. My favorite part was it's in CUH. So CUMH is a university
Yeah.
hospital. So in the middle of my section this time, they asked, could some students come in? Sure, like I'm in the middle of my section. I'm like,
What?
come on
Yeah.
away in. Come on away in, lads. So suddenly a whole load of, should God help us, little girls and boys came in. Like obviously maybe first year of it. And I'm up on the table in all my glory. And you can see the a nurse took a picture when my baby was born. So obviously they're taking a picture from, we'll say, my head
Yes.
looking down towards my tummy. But in the picture, you can see the pure student that was on the other side. And he looks like a man that is going to go and do a trade
Yeah,
because
I was
he
just gonna
just
say
he was
he's
just like, this is not for me. He
he's
looks
he's on a site now out in
traumatized.
Ballincollig, just happy out with himself, smoking fags, give
He's
it all
9
up.
months on, he's only just coming to. It just, he really, you could see. So in the beautiful, magical photographs where my baby arises, I now also have this other child who's absolutely
Terrified in the
traumatized.
fuck.
And the anaesthetist. So like I used to work on the radio in Cork. I used to work in Cork's Red FM. And the anaesthetist was making kind of chit chat with me because at
Of
the start of the
course.
section, it's quite overwhelming. And like, you're not aware, you are aware of what's going on, but you can't really feel it. So the anaesthetist was kind of making chit chat and all this. And in the middle of the section, she goes to me, Laura, what was Neil Prendeville like? Just one of the fellas on the radio. I was like, did not expect to be having this chat in the middle of my section. I was like, he was very nice, but it's just such a weird thing. If you were to think about it, like it's bizarre. Bizarre what's been done to me.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose since the dawn of time, but it is a relatively new. Well, I don't know how old it is or whatever, but to have
Yeah.
the once upon a time to be only probably a midwife was sorting you out, whatever.
Yeah.
Now you have a whole team of students coming in with clipboards going, huh? And they're tilting their head to the side, all of them at the same time, like a group of puppies. Just
And they were so nice. One girl came up and said, thanks so much for letting us in. And I'm like, sure, what else did I be doing? Like, as in, I'm very unaware of mainly what's going, I'm trying to keep my head away from whatever is going on. It feels like, and it feels like somebody, I imagine, to me, it feels like I'm a handbag and there's somebody rooting for something in the bottom of the bag.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's how
yeah,
it
yeah.
feels. And then they find it and then it takes a bit of effort to pull out. It was great. It was a happy time. So yeah, that's just a little quick update of what I've been up to.
Like a bunch of keys with a hooky thing on it that's after catching a thread inside, and you're going, "Come on,
Yeah, yeah.
fuck, will you, Jesus?"
Yeah, or they tried to put something into the bag that was actually a bit too big. So it's a bit of a struggle. That last moment is a little bit of a ooh, to get it out. And then the consultant held Freddie up, my baby, as in like,
Simba.
look what you've made. And also look at how well I did the whole job.
Yeah, I think, yeah, he was probably leading to that. You
Yeah.
did very well, but might I point out my
Might
own
have
work
pointed
here?
out that I had your bowl in my hand a minute ago and I've it all sorted now. Yeah, it was weird times.
I like self-checking myself from being such a soft spot, having soft spot for people that use like sign-offs like that, because I have
Yeah.
to be self-critical of myself and go, they're not that fucking charming, Tom. But honestly, when somebody does say something like Slán, you're like,
It just has a bit of extra thought, doesn't it?
there's no need. Like it's yes, it's a word we all know, but it is almost a personal signature by
Yeah.
somebody
I
who definitely, would be down the RCYC, but at the same time, like, isn't a bollocks.
there was for me there was a kindness about Sloan that
Yeah.
I was like, there was a warmth about it that used, if he didn't say it, then I used to be a bit like, what's wrong with the baby? You haven't said slán. Are you feeling very perturbed? You seem to have forgotten to say your signature sign off. So yeah, it's that's tough for him to balance what people expect from him.
Did you ever go through a phase like that where you're like, oh, this is me now? You know, one of those moments, not a slán, but it's like I'm going to use something. I'm,
Yeah, I'm trying to
verbal,
think.
or was it? Remember like in Derry Girls when she should the curly haired one showed up and she goes, "What's up, motherfuckers? Motherfuckers, my thing now. That's my
Yeah,
thing."
yeah. I've had lots of things during my time. Like I was big into calling people a fanny for ages. I'm like, you're some fanny. But my friend was like, it sounds wrong in your mouth. She was like, just you sound stupid when you say it. So I don't know. I don't know, do you get a bit like this with like podcasts and stuff? I'm after getting to the phase where I'm like, I need to not hear myself for
Yeah,
maybe even just 2 hours.
yeah,
But it's very hard to not hear yourself when your inner voice is also yourself. Do you know what? It's
yeah.
like I just need a break from myself.
Even I talked to a guy the other day, and he needs some personal. He's had a rough go of it the last while, and he was telling me all about this, and he was doing some work on. Oh, we're building a house. You loved it. It's right up
Oh,
your road now. You
oh,
love it.
goody.
We'll get into this now in a minute, but
Okay.
this will tell you how selfish I can be when it comes to that. But need this guy, he was heading off to the Aran Islands for the weekend by himself to go tenting and just get the head straight.
Yeah.
A man with a genuine reason to go get his head straight. He was, life has fucked him up the last couple 6 months or so. And in my head, I'm going, God, that'd be love now. Do you know, to actually be able to find a thing that stops me listening to myself? But I'm going,
Yeah.
first world fucking problems, Tom.
I
Oh
know.
no, I'm listening to myself a lot. This
I
poor,
know.
this poor bastard actually needs his time. I'm one of those wankers who'll probably end up doing goat yoga or something to just, decompress.
Well, I said it to my husband Shane the other day. I said I had contemplated getting him for Father's Day a night in a hotel on his own. That he could go, we'd say, to a nice hotel,
God.
have a bit of dinner, like even room service or whatever, use the pool, have a little rest, get up in the morning, have breakfast, come back to us. And he said to me, he was like, I'd hate that.
What?
And I said, but why would you hate that? He said, sure, what would I do? I'd be so lonely and bored. And I just had to say to him, well, just FYI, if you're ever thinking of what to get me, I want that. Just to be able to be in a kind of, the particular silence that's in a good hotel room as well, with the kind of carpety
Oh,
vibe. I'm like, just a bit of time where it's totally silent. There's nobody looking for anything, be it the kids or the ride or anything. It's
yeah.
literally just me and I'd have so much fun. I'd open up the small soaps. I'd have the water. I'd have the still and the sparkling. I'd have a lovely, lovely time. And I'd probably end up back home by like about 11 o'clock the next morning. But I think I'd be so refreshed from just a bit of silence.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably like my kids are on their school holidays as of today, right? I have 3 kids, and I suppose
Audio listeners, you can't see Laura's eyes just blinked 14,000 times in under 2 seconds there. So take from that what you want.
no, but like I feel like um that there's going to, it I feel like so I've got the 3 kids. We're going to have an amazing, gorgeous summer or whatever. I feel now I need to come off my phone a bit because the kids are home
Yes.
and I need to be very present and kind of there for them or whatever. Now, obviously, the phone can be a bit of a salvation in the midst of all that as well. But equally, I'm like, some of the loudness is from the phone. Some of the loudness in my
Yeah.
brain is
Yeah.
from seeing other comedians, other podcasters, other people living their lives. And something about that then irritates me. And then my day is gone because I'm allergic. And I'm like, it'd be just so much easier to just not look. Do you know what I mean?
I
Or to
know, but yeah, I get it. I
just a
get,
bit of a
yeah.
bit of a break. I would never say a full break, but even just that, like, that I put it down at a point in the day. I feel like if you went inside my head now at the moment, there's about 14 fellas roaring. and they all need to shush.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, exactly in the same boat. Right now, I mean, with the house and everything else, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ almighty. And then you get, I found myself, and I shouldn't, like, one of my parents, I was over with them the other day, and they were just, all they were doing was asking parenty things.
I know.
And they're things that don't. And I mean, I didn't have 4 minutes to spare that day, let alone
Yeah.
45 minutes of Netflix. And what about the other thing now? And wait, jeez, there was a fellow one time, and I'm going, and one of my eyes started bulging.
I know.
And you can't fucking say anything really, like, but
I
I
know.
shouldn't
And
be, my brain shouldn't be in that headspace either, like.
no, and I like my parents have both just had a really rough year of illness, right?
Right.
And I feel like we've gotten the all clear, we're out the other side for both of them. But I feel a bit exhausted by that, and they're equally exhausted by it, and in a bit of a cycle of unwellness, or kind of like almost the habit of being a bit unwell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, we got the two clean bills of health now, so we must capitalize on that. You're only in your early 70s, and we must kind of like we have to lift, we'll say, the burden that has been ticking away in the back of our heads for about a year now. It's coming up on a year since my dad got sick. And it's like, I feel it's something about the end of the school year and coming into the summer again. I'm feeling that kind of like a feeling kind of heightened emotion of I think we might have survived. I think we might have survived a shit year. I think everyone's going to be okay. But then I don't know, do you have experience of like terrible phone calls with awful news about
Oh,
beloved people in it?
yeah.
That feeling takes a while to shift. So I have this feeling of us kind of dodging bullets for about a year. And now every time the phone rings, I'm like, yeah, are you okay? And it could be mom just asking like how to turn on the chase. Do you know what I mean? Mom knows well how to turn on the chase. But like you take a while to come out of that kind of, I suppose it's fight or flight. You take a while to settle back down. And I feel like I've had the first brush with parents being sick, and I'm like, I've no interest in that going forward. And I don't think I'll be good at it, Tom. I think I'll be a bit like you, a bit like too quick to be cross, or kind of like, what are you
Yeah.
saying? Like, or I don't want to hear
Yeah.
that story. I've heard it 1,400 times before. Like, I think I could be a kind of an elder abuse kind of character. Because I know what happens for me. I get such a panic about anything happening to my mom and dad,
Yeah.
that then if there is anything slightly with them, I'm almost kind of trying to jolly them along and be like, no, you're fine, and not acknowledge that they have shit going on, or that they feel a bit older, or that they have friends that are passing away or whatever. And it's my first time kind of facing up to it. And I feel like we're back in a safe zone now where I don't have to think about it for another while. But I didn't like the preview. I don't think I'll enjoy
Yeah.
the full movie. Do you know what I mean?
It's still to this day, like, I don't know what way I will be about it, but when I get awful news, I become robotic. Whatever
Mm.
kicks comes over me, I'm like, right, okay, how can we solve this? Like, I remember getting a phone call of I don't know, did you ever meet him? It was Billy Anderson's death.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't meet him, no, but I know
And
yeah.
but I like Gordon Rochford rang me, and Gordon was, he was in a bad way, but he was doing, but I immediately went, okay, um, Roger that kind of a thing. Didn't that?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
is there anything we can do to, mitigate the problems around this? How is his family doing? He was like, Jesus Christ, you're pretty calm. And of course, like 6 hours later, I'm at home in ribbons, like,
Hmm, hmm.
because just the delay for wanting to you had no ability to deal with it in the moment, other than, right, let's put on our fucking hard hat and get this
Yeah.
fucking sorted. Do you know, like it was an
And I think
emergency, like.
it's the terror of feeling your full emotions as well.
Oh
Like
yeah,
we'll say when I was pregnant with Freddie when my dad, so basically he had blood clots and it led to bowel cancer.
right,
Bowel cancer is why he had the clots. Um, and when I was still pregnant with Freddie when we got the phone call to say that they had found bowel cancer. And I remember my whole body just being like, okay, you need to just hold it all in now because you need to mind the baby. So the
yeah,
baby needs to get here safely. And okay, nobody has died and we can navigate. Definitely there's a kind of I think I was and I'd be a big crier, like Jesus Christ, I'd cry at the wall if it was sad enough looking. But I didn't let myself go there fully because I suppose you are dealing with the practical stuff day to day and making sure that everything's okay. Now, as it happens, it was the shortest brush with cancer anyone's ever had. Like they went in, took out the tumor, put everything back together, no bag nor a bit. Everything was perfect. Got the
Brilliant.
clean bill of health. My mom had her hip replaced and she's actually worse. But like, so it was a short brush with it, but I think we all lived it differently. I had to self-protect a bit because of Freddie, but now I wonder, now that we're kind of, it's coming up to the year anniversary of the phone call. So
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh, I might be a basket case on that day because of the fact that I never unleashed it.
I
I kind of
wonder,
kept it
yeah,
all
I
in.
wonder there's a latent bit of bad news hiding behind your ear or something or down the back of
Yeah,
the trousers and
yeah,
then come out
stored up.
stored up and then kick you up the hole when you least.
Because in the midst of it all, I also had like what I would describe as the happiest moment of my life, which was a
Yeah.
moment after Freddie was born, back up in the ward, where I felt so happy that he was here safely and that we had done it. We had completed it, mate. We had, we had
Done
our
the
third
mission.
baby. It was all lovely, and I remember feeling such pure happiness. And then that's a very weird feeling to rest alongside, like, huge worry about my dad. Like, we were told there was a 50% chance of him having a stroke. My sister was called down from Dublin. Like, it was that, to come and see him. It
Right.
was that level of drama. If you saw him now, not a bother on him. But like, I think the residue from something like that takes a while to kind of settle back down. So
Yeah.
now, like, even the most normal of phone calls now, I'm a bit kind of like, oh my God, what's going to be the outcome of this?
I,
Like,
I wonder then, you know what I mean? Everybody goes on holidays and for the longest time, you go, we're going on holidays because we deserve holidays or because it's a thing. And you don't really put a reason on doing
yeah,
something like going on a holiday or it's just a thing that's done. But not to simplify it, but I would imagine something like a breakaway as a direct result,
yeah.
would it create a nice little bridge going, see
I
you in the
suppose.
background, you fucking shit year.
Yeah,
And
like
then,
a little full stop. Well, mom and dad did that themselves. They went for like 2 nights to Killarney and it was, amazing to get a picture of them in Killarney, kind of having been through the wars. But it's
yeah,
just, it's a weird old, like we say, I'm 39. I just turned 39. It was just a weird old brush with something that I've always kind of dreaded, but
yes,
it's
yeah, yeah.
always been so far away that I'm like, you're a fucking Egypt now for dreading that. You're wasting your time. Whereas now I'm in a newfound era of, oh, it could happen tomorrow. You have to be alert. So I'm in this weird alert state now. So I have to get myself back to just being, it's fine again. I think I'm afraid to say it's fine because that's the very time that then it'd be like, bang, somebody else says something. It actually wasn't your mom and dad. It was someone, it's such a weird.
Yeah.
And
But
and post baby as well, Tom. Like, as in, I don't think I've any kind of post baby trauma at all. But obviously, your hormones get so fucking churned up. Like, after having Freddie, I bawled crying,
did you?
bitter tears of sadness over Jade Goody's son was on Strictly Come Dancing. And I bawled. I was inside in the bed upside down going, your mother would have been so proud of you. He would have been so proud of you, Bobby. You're such a beautiful boy. Like roared crying. Really couldn't get myself. I was heaving crying in the bed over him. I was like, I remember the day she died. It was Mother's Day, and she would have been, oh my God, like forgetting all of the like
Was
complicated aspect of Jade Goody's personality. But I just was bereft for this poor
what
child.
the latent pocket of sadness? I hope that wasn't where you dumped the latent pocket of sadness from your
Imagine
parents.
if I wasted all my tears on
All your
Bobby
tears.
Fraser. But that's what it does. I think you place your emotions in other places. I'm like, yes, I will roar crying over him because I don't want to roar crying over my dad. So I will relive Jade Goody's death. That's what I'll do. And that'll get me through. See, on top of it all, then you're like an artistic soul. So your head is just fucked at the
Yeah,
best
well,
of times
that's it.
anyway.
Like just
Do
thinking
you
of
know?
Princess Diana. Yeah, that'll do me.
Yeah, Princess Diana, she's another one by she is, oh my God, Lady Di. What my girl. I listened to Harry's book actually, and I just got so cross because I will never, ever, ever get any of that time back. Fucking hell, it was long-winded.
Was it?
Oh my
I
God, it was
guessed it. I guessed it was going to be fucking drivel, to be honest with you.
hours and hours and hours of a fella whinging. And basically, all that's wrong with you, Harry, is you lost your mum. You just lost your mum.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's wrong with you. Book over. You're sad because your mum died. We don't need to hear it in whatever, 9 hours. 9 hours of fucking misery in an English
Jesus.
accent. And I'm there in the
Yeah.
car going, oh, this is not for me.
Did he? Oh,
So that
did he do the voiceover for her?
did the voiceover.
Oh fuck.
Fucking and I tried to speed it up, and it you had to listen to it kind of at the right at the speed it was recorded at. But he was just, and by the end of it, I was like, "You're a fucking whinge bag, and just get over yourself." Like, all genuinely, he just never grew up. The
Yeah.
death of his mom just destroyed him,
Yeah, he
and
locked it. He
obviously
locked in
wasn't.
there, like, and
Yeah,
they say that about when you see somebody who's a mad joke or a pain in the bollocks,
yeah,
or chances are they're still a child because something traumatic
yeah.
happened to them at a certain age. Like,
And so heightened if you're royal as well. Like, as in,
yeah, yeah,
everything's handed to you on a plate. Like, I think the big thing, I think it seemed like your Megan was just kind of, it blew her mind that this fella, like, thought he was going to, get served on gilded plates and stuff. And, it's like, just go down to the shop, boy. Do you know, like, it was
yeah,
just,
yeah, 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 yeah.
it was no, so much whinging from a young fella. But yes, appreciate Lady Diana. She is a good go to for crying.
The
Any
last the,
documentary.
the last time we got to hang out was it that Heineken gig?
Oh yeah,
Was
in
it that? That
in
was a strange thing to be
that
doing,
was a
wasn't it?
weird gig. It was the old Murphy's Brewery
Yeah, 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 yeah.
in Cork. It's Heineken Ireland now, and it was some sort of competition winners. Like, I felt like the audience did not really want to have won the competition.
I said it. I went, Jesus Christ, you've been assaulted by us, and somebody's thrown horrendous food at them. It was like they
Oh
were
my
trying
God.
to. But you mentioned the food, and and they kept on coming to us, going, "Would you like a plat?" A plat? And was
It
it
was
like
like
raw fish with
fish
crisps or something?
paste or something. It was like, I can still smell it when I
Yeah,
think of it. I think they were calling it maybe like fish pate or something. I mean, the room stank. It
the
stank of
room
fish.
fucking stank, and they had crisps with it as well to make it gas and trendy because they were celebrating some old beer shite. It was a shite beer anyway that they're
Weird.
bringing out.
It was so weird. And the audience just looked like they'd never, ever cracked a joke
No,
before, or
no,
heard anyone that might crack a joke. Like, I ran out of that gig. I was like, bye guys, see you, I'm gone.
I
It was
know,
Killian Sunderman was on as well. And I would have loved to have seen him, but I was like, Killian, I have to go. 'Cause I just can't bear if there's an atmosphere in a room that makes me want to, like, I just have to get out. I'm just
yeah.
like, this is
I
this
well, I
is
at least
hell for me.
I got to see you, but like you did well for Jesus for what it was,
Gee,
and
it was
I
like
went,
pulling teeth, Tom.
I can't even do any material with it. So I just started talking to him and
Yeah.
just taking the piss out of the
And
food and
sorry,
stuff.
in my head when I imagine it as well, we were on a kind of a raised part of the floor,
Yeah,
but there was people in a kind of an L shape. There was
yeah,
definitely like a bar and a pillar in our way. Like, I was definitely only making eye contact with about six people,
yeah,
but the rest
yeah.
were, it was chaos. It was fucking chaos. But sometimes gigs are just like that, aren't they? Sometimes you're like, well, this room is demented.
Well,
Like, come on.
I mean, there's an old phrase like, comedy has no business in anywhere that isn't a comedy club or,
Yeah.
a venue of some sort. Like, and
Yeah.
that's them corporate fucking things when you just go, oh, Jesus Christ,
God.
who wrote this down on paper and this made a good idea? Like, this is
And you can
not,
just imagine the corporate crowd goes, oh, it's going to be unbelievable. We're going to get, that internet comedian Killian. We're going
yeah,
to get
yeah,
him.
yeah.
And then, yeah, the two O'Mahonys, are they related? Nobody knows. And, you could just imagine, Cornelius was there as well. You could
Cornelius
just
is there,
imagine,
yeah.
I actually know Cornelius. I have a contact. You could just imagine the fucking shite talk that
Yeah.
went on. And then I find sometimes at corporate gigs as well, you're actually treated like shit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they've schmoozed you to get there. And then when they see you, they're like, yeah, what are you doing? You're doing 10 minutes. Oh, what? Like, you're suddenly like, oh, I thought
Oh,
you wanted me to be here. You seem to hate me.
I it's funny you say that out loud. Do you know, and I don't know if I said that actually out loud to people, and you're 100% right. They schmooze the shit out. Now, one or two of late, a couple of them that I've done, they've been very nice to me, but still, in the behavior of kind of going, here lads, why aren't we starting this shit on time? Like it's still being treated like shit. You
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
and I did one for these. They teed me up through this agency that they were or they a bank, a very conservative Canadian bank. Turns out the motherfuckers, oh no, a security company of some sort, um, like whatever software security, and it turns out they weren't at all. They were investment bankers. The
Oh.
most grotesque bunch of fucking wankers I've ever met in my entire life. Like,
Right.
and they, I think they wanted to do some raffle or something, and then have me on again after. I was like, no. No, it was. I won't be 2 minutes, says your man. I won't be 2 minutes, and maybe you could just close off the night and thank everybody. I said, okay, I'll do that. And the guy was, I had to, they pushed me kind of. I kind of got directed down this back corridor behind where the staged area was. And fuck me, your man was still
Oh,
going 37 minutes later.
oh,
So I
sure,
just
the raffle, Tom. You lose me at the word raffle. If there's a raffle, I'm not coming to the event unless I win the raffle.
and they were. You want to hear the things they were raffling like.
Oh God.
Oh, like grotesque amounts of money, like
Okay,
out of their own
right.
pocket. But they were raffling things like, a signed Brian O'Driscoll, jersey, or a
Okay.
um a round of golf on, the island, and all these
Okay.
fucking things. You're going, what the fuck? Who even puts these forward? Like, there was no. We're not. I'm telling you now, there was no book of raffle tickets bought. If you know what I mean. Like, this was
Okay, it
just
was more of a kind
silent
of a write
bidding.
your name. Oh yeah, yeah. But as well though, Tom, like anybody that's at these gigs, they hate the comedian.
Yeah,
They don't want they want the drinking and the crack.
yeah.
Like I've what happens to me a lot is I get asked to do hen nights, right? And
Oh God, you would. Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so easily schmoozed. Like if you send me a message going, Laura, we love you, the bride absolutely just loves you, loves your videos, has been following you for years. Like if you say that to me, I'm not even talking fee now. I'm just like, this girl loves me. I'm going to make her day. I'm going to be like Taylor Swift rocking up to a meet and greet. This is going to be unbelievable. And more often than not, they're allergic. Like I've done ones in the middle of the day at about 3 o'clock. They've just done their activity. And then I walk in and mostly they're like, what's she doing here? And they kind of think, like, am I going to stay and be on the hen night with them? There's a bit of that. And then they're like, oh no, she's going to do 15 minutes of stand up. And it has been, I went to one recently and the girl said to me, oh God, I thought you'd be way taller. And she just seemed so disappointed that I was a tiny little guy. And like, sure, where do you go from there? You're inside in a sticky, closed pub. They've just done some awful activity, and you're like, hey guys. And then it's like, I try and do kind of wedding-y material, or,
Yeah.
I find out a few facts about her and I like drop her future husband's name or whatever. And like it gets a wry smile, but fucking hell, more often than not, I come out. I said it to my husband. I said, if you hear me saying I'm doing a hen night again, you are to tell me I'm not, because I'm just such a sucker for people being like, "We love you."
The
Like I
only,
swear, I'd nearly do it for
yeah.
free.
I get, yeah. I don't get that too often. The I love you
You don't get the
thing.
hen
Like,
nights.
I don't get the hen nights. Although I actually have been asked to do hen nights, and I'm like, are we on the same planet? Like, are we? Come on now.
I
You
don't,
don't want. You don't.
you don't
No,
want this.
Nana doesn't need to see this. Like, this carry on. This is fucking no, no. This is. I did do. It was my first ever gig back after COVID, and it was
Mm,
in. I'd say we were technically still in COVID. I'd say. But I got rang by this guy. He books the odd gig, and it was for a stag in Wicklow, a small little village in Wicklow. And I went, this sounds absolutely horrendous, but I'm
mm.
definitely taking it because they were
Yeah,
like,
take all the
they've
gigs. The
they've
gigs are
seen your
back.
gigs are back, but also they've seen your videos and they think you're class. I'm like, I'd say I am class, yeah. Jesus, thanks, lads.
I'm
Total,
unbelievable. Yeah, yeah,
total fucking melt for that shit as well. Like, or as you'd
yeah,
say, weak for how they were talking to me. Like,
yeah.
your class. That's it. We didn't even.
I don't need much more
I
than
was driving
that.
up there before we talked about money. I was actually on the fucking road up there before, and I'm like, Jesus Christ! And it was. I mean, it was great for the moment, but I tell you
Mm.
what, it was actually a bag of shit if you stood back and looked at it. You know what I mean? They
And
were.
often you do have to stand back. Like in the moment, I'd be like, that was great. Yeah, that was really worthwhile. And then it's days later, you're like, no, bag of shit, bag
Yeah.
of shit. I did a wedding, a gay wedding, which I was delighted with. I was like, oh, look, this is so chic. Look at
Oh
me.
Jesus! Look
Like
at
I'm a
you.
gay icon. I'm delighted with myself. And they were like, we love you, blah, blah, blah. but they weren't fed. The
The
punters
gays.
were not
The
fed.
gays
No,
weren't
the
fed.
gays were not fed. And there
That's
had definitely
one
been some
rule.
delay because when I arrived, like I had kind of cut it so that I'd only be just there at the time. I was standing around kind of in a courtyard for a while with the guests. And then they were all brought into this room. And I was like, these people haven't been fed. And there was like breadsticks just on the table.
Oh,
I bet you've
Jesus.
never seen the breadsticks go so fast because they were starving. So then they're sitting down now and they're like, oh yes, we're going to have our dinner. And it's like, hi guys, how are you? We're going to do the speeches. And at the end of the speeches, we have a comedian. And I had to do like 15 minutes. And I was like, these people are ravenous. They are ravenous. And my resolve throughout started to fade. Like you arrive thinking these people love me. By the end of it, I'm like, those people that asked me to do this wedding, they hate me. Like, as in, they did, because they were exhausted. It was their end of the wedding day. They were kind of like, you know, we've made a terrible mistake. We booked her 2 years ago,
I
not
want a
realizing how a
divorce. This is
wedding would
dreadful.
run.
Well,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
we're annulling this immediately. This is
Yeah,
bullshit. I
I
can't
hate
believe
this old wedding. It's just, yeah, I've gotten cleverer about just not being flattered into doing bags of
the
shite.
weddings one is the only one that I'm hardline on myself more than anything because again, it was a local one. It was at a class venue. It would have fitted in just before the gig in the hill because it was a very early wedding.
Yeah,
And they're lovely and they come all the time. They're like, they love you. And I'm going, oh, do you know what? Wouldn't it be? I never take these things because I'll die on my hole at these things. This is, you know what? But they're my people.
yeah.
They're my people.
And I'm a gift to
And
them.
exactly, I'm a gift to them who's going to take a lot of money off them. So yeah,
Yeah,
but I was like Natasha would rarely pull me up on gigs. And she'd go, yeah, listen, if you think it's worth it, Tom, but you'd go into a burning building to tell jokes. So
yeah,
whatever, you know what I mean? I just don't come and whinge at me afterwards about it. You know what I mean? This is,
yeah.
I said it to her thinking that she would think it was lovely because it's wedding related and she loves all that lovely stuff. And oh God,
Mm,
serendipitous that it's you and they got engaged the night they saw you. And oh, this would be, and I went in, I told her the whole thing and she went, oh no. Oh no, Tom, no, 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 no. You don't do
really?
weddings now. You've never done weddings, and I can promise you, you don't want to start because you'll come home furious out of it, like, and because
Yeah.
it won't have gone the way, Tom. They all run up. You lose your mind when anything runs 5 minutes over.
Mm. Yes, yes,
This
yes.
shit will start 45 an hour and 45 minutes too late. You'll be sweating bullets. You may die in your whole time. Uh,
Yeah.
you can't do the same crowd work you do in the club because Nana ain't going to take that shit.
No.
Nobody came to see you. I went, these are all very valid points. I said, but the couple love me. She goes, oh, that's irrelevant. If
Yeah.
2 people out of 250 like it, that's not enough, Tom. I went, yeah, you make some
She's
valid
dead
points.
right. She's dead right.
Yeah.
What does Natasha do?
She's going back to work, but she was a journalist. She wrote for a couple of magazines and stuff like that.
I think like Shane is an electronic engineer, and I think that they can get to they can get rid of all the emotion. Much, our partners can kind of cut through our ego, I suppose it is.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Nice and quick. And
Those
like,
are normal people, Laura. Normal people
yeah.
are like that, not absolute like plumos. We are so easily plumosed. Like
Oh,
this,
I'm the reason we
it's
do comedy or podcasts or anything in the first place is because we want people to tell us we're lovely.
yeah.
Like, if you tell me I'm lovely, I'm like, when are we moving in together? Let's be best friends. Like
I already have a
it's
tattoo with your face on it, so
yeah, exactly.
where'd you get
This
the tattoo machine?
this is this is such an ongoing theme for me because I'm very guilty of like letting people into my world because I'm like, I'm going to share my life with them.
Yeah,
They're going to be here. We're going to have, barbecue nights and chitty chatty. And then suddenly I'm like, I have let lunatics into my life. And, and now I'm stuck. Like my dad said it to my husband the night before our wedding. Dad pulled Shane aside outside and he said, Laura collects waifs and strays. And I am now
waifs
passing
and
over
strays. What a
waifs and
great
strays.
phrase.
And I am now passing over the baton to you to protect her because she's been collecting them since she was small. So you are now to watch that. And it's so true. Oh my God, I could. If one person was like, "Oh, I think you're really funny," I'd be like, "Will we go to the cinema? What what are you doing tomorrow?" And I suddenly have all these. It's the same with the hen nights and the way we love you. Brilliant. I'll be there. You don't need to pay me. A glass of Prosecco will do. Like mental shit. But I think I've gotten better at not being plumos, but I still would store up those compliments in my head. I'm like, yes, you do love me. I'm
I
not
would
doing the
love to
headlights.
see it as an experiment, but not only as an experiment, but I would love to see you literally get to Taylor Swift level of fame and adoration and just see how you fucking deal with that.
Well,
Like how
I
you would
think I
deal with
probably get. I think it stems from a little bit of inadequacy. Like I think if you got to that level, then the real me, which is kind of cutthroat with a ferocious edge, would emerge. Because I'm like, well, I've made it now.
I don't
Like
know,
I'm
you'd
Taylor
probably get
Swift now.
I could see you getting yourself a bus license and just going around collecting people to come to
Oh,
your own
and I
concert.
definitely, I'd love now, if I was Taylor Swift, I'd love like turning up in a golden discs in Dublin. Like I'd love that shit. You know, the
Yeah,
way
yeah, yeah,
sometimes like
yeah.
Ed Sheeran does that kind of stuff, or like appearing at somebody's graduation or something. It's often anytime anyone, this has happened to me a few times. If somebody comes up chatting to me because they know my work, we'll say,
Yes.
it has often happened that I'm the one that's staying. Like they're finished with me. They've said, "Hi, Laura, I love you on the radio," but I'm still there. And I'm
Go
kind
on,
of like,
say
"Yeah,
again.
yeah,
Tell me how
yeah, chatting." Yeah.
you
And
love
they're
me
kind of
on
like,
the
"Bye anyway. I'll see ya." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn it. Mental, like,
what are we doing? What are we doing now?
yeah.
It's
Tell me more. Tell me more about myself." Very weird. Very strange kind of element to my personality.
it is, yeah, it is. But at the same time, like you see, like Bill Murray and stuff, who's legendary status, like, and he'll just show up at a stag night and
Yeah.
go, or I don't know what it got cancelled for, and I hope it wasn't for lack of tickets. So, but Ludacris, I saw it on TikTok or something, and Ludacris
Okay.
just showed up in this kind of huge giant bar, and it just said Ludacris's cancer was cancelled, so he
Okay.
just gave people a free gig, and there's only
Oh,
about 60 people in this huge bar,
yeah.
and he's got like a boombox around and he's got a microphone, and he comes in, free gig, free show, everybody, free show, and it is fucking ludicrous. He's got a load of
Oh,
people with him on microphones, and
so
it
funny.
seems like some crack,
Yeah. And
but
I think if you were super, super famous, you have to have an outlet for crack
yeah,
because like your life is not. I was even watching that terribly sad documentary about Celine Dion, and she was saying she's traveled the world and she saw nowhere. Because of course she didn't. She saw concerts and she saw
backstage
backstages
area,
of big
yeah,
venues and stuff. But
yeah.
did she actually see like I don't know L'Arc de Triomphe? Well, she probably did. But like, did she speaks a bit of French as well? But like, as in, you just I think as a really, really famous person, you'd have to do that kind of crack to just kind of keep you alive and to stop being a robot. You'd have to randomly rock into like,
You
I don't
would,
know,
wouldn't you?
some local pub. There was a local pub local to my mum and dad's called the Boot House. Like if I ever got sky high famous, I think I'd rock in there. Like,
What's
hey
it called?
guys,
It sounds
the Boot
familiar.
House, the Boot
Where,
House,
where is
Boot
that?
House Bar in Cork. It's Upper Glanmire.
Yes.
Upper Glanmire, High Notions.
Oh,
That was
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Upper
Oh, Upper
Glamire.
Glanmire,
Hi.
not the old lower Glanmire at all. Yeah, the Boot House Bar. I'd rock up in there. I'd be like, hey guys, I've never ever been in here before, but now that I'm famous, I'm
You're
coming
welcome.
in to say hi.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. That is what it is. That is what it
It
is. It's
is.
the ego. It's
Yeah.
like I'm a bloody gift, my friends, and today I have chosen to give it to you. It's terrible. Terrible. It's terrible. It's all ego, all madness and ego.
I need advice because we're at so we both are into a lot. I think we probably watch some of the same TV shows or at the moment I don't get to see many, but you absolutely enamored me the time you did Kevin McLeod sketch of of Grand
Grand Designs.
Designs, and I remember just going, oh my God, this
I
is
mean, the production
Laura gets
values were
me.
poor, but it was
No,
very
that's what
enjoyable
made it
sketch.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what made it beautiful. But
Well, it was because my house was being renovated.
yes,
I remember looking over at Shane and going, the house is being renovated. OMG, sketch potential here. Like, whenever will we be in a house where there's like the floor dug up and stuff? I'm like, the crack here now is available. So go
what?
on. So you're doing the house.
So it's doing the house, but here's the stages I'm talking about, right? So
Yeah.
when we were uh, getting married, there was the fucking wedding programs used to be on.
Yes, yes.
Now
Say yes to the
they
dress,
they
bridezillas.
yeah, they used to send me around the fucking bend, but I stayed in the pocket. I stayed in the game for a few of them. Like then they immediately fell off a cliff,
Okay.
and then there was some baby having programs and things like that. Had a
One born every
child,
minute. Yeah.
but the house, but we're building a fucking house, and the house programs are still on the go.
Mm.
Like, did you stop with Kevin fucking Dermot Bannon all these bollocks as soon as the house was finished? Because you made a lovely job at the house. Where you're like, I don't need to see no
I
more now.
think I think we stopped watching them when we were getting the house done. Mostly.
Yeah,
It's a bit like One Born Every Minute was all, which is the pregnancy one where they like show live sections and stuff. That was all very, very cute when I was like in my early 20s. I was like, oh my God, look at that baby. And then when I was going to be faced with giving birth, I was like, we're not watching that anymore. And a bit the same with getting the house done. Now you see, we went full notions with our house because we
you
had been
did.
living. We did.
You
We went
did.
full notions.
You
I'm
did.
very open about that. We had been living, I feel like we earned it. We had been living down in Ballycotton in Cork for 5 years. Our washing machine was in the shed, as was our dryer, right? The utility room was outside, basically, in the same room as the boiler. So you'd come in and they're with your new fresh clothes and they'd smell of kerosene, right? Not great. Um, there was a kind of it was a huge house. It was like we thought it was a great house when we bought it. Um, but we didn't realize that we were not country living folk. It just like I
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
genuinely
yeah.
thought that I lived in the country when I lived in Upper Glenmire, which was like 15 minutes away from the city. And I think when we were in Ballycotton, people used to start referring to going to town. And I used like town to me is Cork City. I
Yeah.
suddenly realized that town was Middleton and that Cork was the city. We're going up to Cork. And I was like, no, fuck this. This is not right. So I'm like, I just cannot be somebody that refers to going to Cork. Having lived quite close to the city all the time along town. So when we moved, so we never put our own stamp on the house in Ballycotton. I
Right.
actually was only talking about this the other day. We kind of copied my parents.
Yeah.
We had like a very similar couch to them, a very similar pine bed to them. We didn't have any of our own kind of, we had our own ideas, but we just didn't we didn't put them on the house in Ballycotton. So then we moved. I mean, it took nearly the best part of a year to move to Tivoli, which is very near the city. And like by the time I was leaving Ballycotton, I was like, I need to get out. I
Yeah.
need to leave
You
now.
had you
Like
had belly cotton mouth for the sake of the place.
I
Like you had
was I was fully I had Ballycottonitis and our own house hadn't fully sold and I passed the keys into the estate agent and I was like, you finish dealing with that now because I am gone, my friend. And so it did, like we knew it was sale agreed or whatever, but it was just taking ages. And so we got in here on the 19th of December 2019.
right.
Our house in Ballycotton finalised on the day that Leo Varadkar was making his speech about lockdown. Thanks be to Christ that it was finalised on that day. So we got out just before lockdown because if I had stayed down in Ballycotton during lockdown, there would have been a podcast made about me called
I've
East Cork, where I would have murdered
I
somebody
was just
and
gonna
they would
say,
have,
yeah,
it
yeah.
would have been all
Netflix
sorts.
brings out its own, yeah.
That fella, who's your man that made all the West Cork documentary? Oh, Jim Sheridan. Jim
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Sheridan
yeah,
would have
yeah.
been knocking on my door. But so then when we moved here, we were adamant that we wanted it to be done in our taste and our style. This was it. This was our house. This was forever. So we had been watching that Notions program called, oh my God, what's it called? Home of the Year.
Oh
Home of the Year.
Jesus, yeah, yeah. Your man with the square glasses, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hugh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So Home
Hugh,
of the Year was just coming on. I saw an ad for it, and I saw a guy that I knew, because himself and his brother have this fabulous cafe in Cork called the Workshop, and I knew David from the Workshop, and I saw that his house was going to be on Home of the Year, and I was kind of just rooting around, and suddenly he's an interior designer, and his brother is a builder, and I was like, these are the men for the job because I've always loved their cafe. I've always loved their whole outlook on life. And I was like, okay, so David came to the house for a meeting. He kind of vaguely knew me. I vaguely knew him. We were both very kind of like, hello, yes, we're looking to get a design. We're very mannerly. And eventually we realized that we were crack. So just the greatest working relationship of all time. Like it was so notions to get an interior designer, but my Christ, it was mainly because I don't like talking to the man. I don't like talking
Yeah.
to the
The
plumber, the
man. Yeah.
tiler. The man scares me, and I instantly become a gum. Like I know things. I am a clever person, but in front of an electrician, like I suddenly don't know what a plug is. I'm like,
Yeah.
the thing you put into the wall, and there's a kind of a wire coming out of it, and I think something happens with maybe like a spark. Like I just become thick. So having David, he became like our kind of project manager as well. So he was a man that I loved talking to. And then he manned all the other men, which was like,
Funny, like how he's your fucking Rosetta Stone. Like you're just having to talk through the back of his head,
he
and
was
what's
just,
coming out. You're just
he
having
was,
the girly notions through the back of his head, and it's coming
and
out
he was
in
just,
construction talk.
he was just amazing because like there was one night, there was one day where we had these really tiny, this is the kind of shit now, the minutiae that you're going to get into with your own house with
Oh,
these
I
really
know it.
tiny tiles. They were like, mosaic size.
Yeah.
And David had a plan for like, it was something like, white, 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 black, white, 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 black, or whatever. So anyway, we looked at the Tyler had put them down a bit wrong. And so we just happened to mention it to David. Jesus Christ, he was outside the door within 10 minutes. He was like, I knew it. I knew they'd go down wrong. And he was able to go up and do all the man talk then. Because I didn't have to do any of the like, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I
yeah.
think the tiles are down wrong. So it was like, it was the best notions we ever had. It really took the stress out of it. Now we did live in the house while it was being renovated, which was an
Oh,
experience
Jesus,
with
yeah.
two kids at the time. We basically just lived out of the sitting room and we just yeah, we you just kind of do it. But the end, like there's still stuff to be done, but the end result of like having, I mean, it's such a privilege to be in a place that we're so happy in and like, but you get obsessed. It's like the wedding.
Of
You get
course,
obsessed.
yeah.
Like, remember with the wedding cake? I remember having my bridesmaids taste and chocolate biscuit cake, chocolate fudge cake. I'd say they were fit to throw down my throat. And it's the same with the house. You're like putting tiles, leaning them up against walls and, paint colors and
Oh, Jesus. And
do
we've
we go for blinds? Do we go for like all sorts of, all very posh, very notions shit? But
yes,
look
yeah,
at
yeah.
the other side of it is my husband works his whole off for us to be able to have those notions. But like, it consumes you. Are you consumed by it, do you think?
I'm not getting consumed by. No, I know my role because I was. I would you believe it? I used to speak to the man. In a
Okay.
yeah, so I'm okay with the man.
Yeah. Well,
In
you're
a
a man.
previous. Yeah, and I know what the man is. Like when an electrician comes in, I've made life easy on them because this is how we're keeping the money down too. Is because I know enough of the stuff that you don't want them lads being charging you full electrician prices to have to
Yes.
fucking do some
Okay. Okay.
donkey.
Okay.
So I've that stuff out of the way
Do you
and done.
become more man when the
Yeah,
man comes in? Yeah,
yeah,
because I become less
yeah.
like as in there's a grand strong man in me as well, but I become stupid girl when the man is there. I'm like,
Isn't that weird? And people and I've kind of poked people in the back before, going, "Come on, it's okay," and they're like, "No."
yeah,
But they're
yeah.
speaking, and they turn into like some character of League of Gentlemen going, but they're speaking the 12D, and I don't nosy
I
woosies. I'm
know,
like, oh,
and
for
I'm
the
like,
love of
I'm well able here, but I either become stupid girl or I go to I'm too cross, and they're like, why is she fucking raging about a couple of light bulbs? This one's up to I'm like, and the light bulbs need to be put in as well now, Jim. And Jim is like, fuck off, stick them in yourself.
But I'm leaving all interior stuff to, well, not all interior stuff. Natasha has a brilliant imagination.
Yeah,
So there's some things that are going to be like we're putting a slide from upstairs to downstairs.
you are
Into,
not. You are
yeah,
not. Stop
yeah,
it. Are you?
yeah.
Is there
There's
also stairs?
yeah.
Okay, so there's two options.
Well,
I
yeah.
mean, this is
You go up
amazing.
one, and then you come down into the playroom on the other thing.
Stop it.
Yeah,
That's
why not?
very cute.
It's
Well,
very
why
silly.
not?
It's
But
very
this
silly,
is
and
it.
it's a country. It's like we're in the country, so there's plenty of space, and like it's a big enough foul house, so there's plenty of
Yeah.
space to do these silly things. Like, and as
But
soon as
why not? Like, why do you have to be
oh,
like,
you
I
don't
think
have
that
to
was,
conform to anything. Like,
why do you have to be married to like, now we'll put the magnolia on the walls and all
oh
that shit?
fuck
Like, as
no.
in, we had two amazing painters. They are mother and daughter. And
I think I know them.
Lorraine and Mary, LM Decker, they're called. They were amazing.
I think because Mount Oval.
Yeah.
I was the engineer over Mount Oval.
Yeah.
And I swear there was a mother and daughter painters team, and
Kind
they
of
were
from Douglas, too well
yeah,
able,
that's out
fabulous.
Rochestown.
Yeah,
Like, so
out that direction. They
they
were
were unreal.
fabulous. And like I was able to talk to them because they weren't the man. And like my little girl wanted a pink bedroom with yellow spots. Now, I'm not joking you, Tom. If you said that, not to cast aspersions, but if you said that to Johnny Normal Painter, he'd be like, no, we're not going to do that at all. No, because like the yellow bubbles, like she'll grow out of that. Oh,
Yeah,
no, no, very hard. Blah. I said to the two girls, and they were like, "Yes, of course,
I
she
do.
must have this."
I like that regardless. And there's times when the men, when lads, like I had a guy up the other day, just a price, and fuck me, he went off in 9 different directions, bar
Yeah,
exactly, and he's swinging arms all over the place. And I said, I didn't say, dude, get the fuck off the property, but it was like, yeah, man. And he just, all we could do is just kind of look at each other and going, we are sown. I would end up fucking you in that river because there's a river right beside
yeah.
that because
And
I'll have to kill you.
you do have to have a connection with them. They're
Oh,
going to be in your home
100%.
for a while.
100%.
Like we asked a fella to come and look at our garden, and when he rang me, I was brave. I rang the man, and then he couldn't find the house. I gave him the fucking air code, and he
Oh,
couldn't
no,
find the
no,
house.
no, no.
And he fucked me out of it down the phone. He was so panicked. He was like, "I can't find it. And where is it?" And blah 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 blah. So by the time he arrived, I was already, well, I'm not. You're not
Yeah,
doing the garden because
100%.
you've just now. He apologized. He was like, "Sorry about that. No, I got a bit het up." I was like, "It's no problem. It's no problem being het up." But we're not doing the job. Like, as in goodbye and God bless. Because if you're this heated with me before I've even said yes to you doing the job. Now, he also went on to quote something fucking horrendous. I thought nobody wants to do your garden. My God. The gardeners are all like very busy at the moment. Sorry. Like, and is there like, we've a bit of awkward access. The
Yeah.
minute you mention awkward access,
Oh,
they're like, oh no, you need to get equipment up there. There's no way. I said to the last one, I was like, somebody has to be able to fix this garden because somebody originally did it.
yeah.
So this access has been the same for hundreds of years. So like, it doesn't require a JCB. You might just have to, it'll be a bit awkward, but it can be done. But then I've washed my hands of that. I'm like, I can't with the gardener man that's too
Well,
busy for
you
4
can't
years.
have that kind of juju going into your life, your
Yeah.
forever home. I'm genuinely with that. I like your man came in the dry, and even I know him. And I was like, oh, I forgot you're the thickest human on two fucking legs. And he started telling me, like, swinging his arms around the place, telling me what he'll do and what he should. Oh, don't be, you wouldn't want to be doing that. And I'm going, oh no, it's 100% happening that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no, what way I do it now? And I'm going, you, do people actually fucking get bamboozled by this? But more so, and his ludicrous pride, but more so, I just felt I can't have somebody. All the lads I've had so far are tip top, lovely people you can just relax around
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
very customer friendly and professional. I can't have you. Some of your stupidity might seep into the soil, and
I
my
have that
child might
feeling.
turn that over one day and end up picking up stupidity.
I have that I have that feeling about things that are important to me. I remember years ago I had a banged up Toyota RAV4 red Jeep. It owed us nothing, right?
Great
A
joke, though.
great yoke, but it was well old now and it was well mistreated and all this. And it gave out on the side of the road, right? It just on the way actually up to I was doing Bridget Naaman and it was to a read through and it was actually on the way to the read through the fucking thing collapsed on the side of the road. So this lovely man came, collected the car. That was all fine. But the mechanic, when we brought it to him, not my usual mechanic, another fella that worked for him, said something about it being a piece of shit. And I said to him, I said, I'm going to stop you there. Because I
Yeah.
said, I brought my baby home in that car. And that car might now be a piece of shit and clapped out, but I don't need you. I got really fucking pissy with him because I was like,
Yeah,
this is an
100%.
important thing to me. And equally, then when the lads were doing our house, I just thought this was such a beautiful thing. I've never said it to them. I don't know, do they even know? But so there was kind of shelves in our kitchen, right? So they had to knock the shelves. In the knocking of the shelves, they found a crucifix, a small, tiny little crucifix, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't ours. It obviously belonged to the previous owner, and it must have just been on top of the shelves, and nobody knew about it, or maybe the owner left it. I don't know. But like just another builder now would come along, fuck the whole lot out into a
Yeah.
skip, not mention it, nothing. Like just out of no malice.
Yeah, yeah,
That is
yeah.
what they did. But these fellas, they just placed it on the windowsill and they just fuck the shells out, but they kept that little crucifix there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they
yeah,
didn't know
yeah.
whether I believe in God with the sky over. But there was something about the respect of that
Yeah,
that I just was like, this is good juju in the house. This
yeah.
is a feeling of like, lads that are good at their job, are respectful of everything. And it just like, I did get that vibe from them that like, we obviously they were with us for so many weeks. You get to the point where you're having ferocious crack with them because they stop being the man then and they
Yeah.
start being like the builders in particular. But I just thought that one small act of decency, it did nothing religious about it, but it was just respectful. And I was like, these are good people, and they're good people making the bones of my house good. And this is a house that I have such feelings of love for because it has saved me from Ballycotton. I, no offense to Ballycotton, still absolutely will do Sea Church, gig, no problem. But like, as in, it just, you want that good karma around you. You want to feel like your house is giving you a snuggle. So like, absolutely have a slide in your house. I can't wait to see you sliding
You
down
wait,
that.
yeah, you're going to enjoy this. This is but it's I'm just but like what I was saying, I'm letting Natasha off. The woman,
Yeah,
she's a lovely woman. She don't ask for nothing, but she doesn't. She's not. She's very, very, very easy to live with person.
yeah.
But she was like, "Can I do the? Can I do?" Because she's very good at art and stuff. Like,
Hey,
I want to do the doors and stuff in a theme. Like, she wants hidden doorways and things like that. And
amazing. Yeah.
I went, "Yeah." She's like, "Really, really?" Like,
Yeah.
I went, "Yeah, this is yeah." Jesus Christ, woman, this is yeah, of course,
Let
whatever.
this be your art. Yeah, let it be your muse. I love a
This is
secret door. I
this is
love
your Sistine
unveiling.
Chapel. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
go for it.
exactly.
Like,
I love unveiling my utility room because of the fact that it used to be in a shed. So now it's behind a secret door. So you think, oh, that's just a cupboard, but boom, it's actually where the washing machine is.
class. But
Thrilling.
in
It is.
fairness, they did a lovely job, and
They did.
yeah, they did a lovely job in your place now.
They did. It's the Black House. That's who David is. He didn't win Home of the Year, but he came very close. He's the fella. He has a piano in his
Oh
kitchen
yes, 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 yes,
as a
yes.
chopping board. Now it does also function as an actual piano, but he has a little glass panel on the top of it, and he can use it as a kind of a worktop space.
But I do,
Hilarious.
I like that weird kind of thinking outside. Well, sure, why do you have to do what everybody else is?
I
Would you,
know.
well,
I
especially
know.
like so long we've rented for, and you just have to be compliant to the four walls you're in because they don't
Yeah.
belong to you.
Yeah.
But now it's like, and it's actually getting quite. It's hard. It was very hard to think beyond the magnolia for a while because you're kind of
Oh
going,
yeah.
well, it's Jesus Christ, it's what my parents did, and that fucking worked fine for fucking me.
Magnolia had such a chokehold over all of our parents.
We should we should write there should be a book written like the and just the magnolia years, like this fucking every just incorporating all the things that had an absolute chokehold over us as children.
Oh, definitely Magnolia was one. I think we might have upgraded to something called something like Sunny Day or something. There was some other ridiculous.
Yeah,
There should be a whole book about paint names. Ridiculous. Like we have some ridiculous paint in our house now. We've eggshell, which is kind of blue.
I
We've
like
all
that.
sorts of crack. Yeah, no. And like I think as well, you know what another like feature walls had a
Oh
chokehold on
yeah,
people for a while there as
yeah,
well. Still
yeah,
fancy an old feature wall. And putting plates up on the wall. My God, we had a wall full of plates. Plates from
yeah,
like Mallorca,
yeah.
Lanzarote, you
The
name it.
f-
You name a Canary Island, we'd a plate from it.
the old fella snapped one day. He went, "Can we just get rid of that? The fuck?" And where he was working, all the foreign lads were mad about him, so he used to bring him back
Oh,
when they had passed their point of giving a shit about plates back from Minorca and stuff like,
yeah, yeah,
and they cleared the house of that in the mid 90s somewhere.
yes,
All the foreign lads started joining the workforce in the like 97, 98, and they
yeah,
go, Mr. Brady, I'm coming, and the lads are bringing stuff back from their home place in Turkey, and it's some, probably toxic plastic fucking volcano that has Turkey written on the side of it,
yeah, yeah.
and he's to be fucking delighted with this thing, All he wants to do is throw it over the ditch on the way home. But it's like,
That's very
Jesus, what if the
cute.
fucker calls out? Some
We have
even,
to show it. Have to have it on display.
Christ Almighty. But yeah, that's the thing, and I think you rightly appreciate how silly we're going with some things. Like
Yeah, yeah,
there's no mentioning it like to some people where you go, yeah, well, there's going to be a huge chance there, a mosaic or a huge painting of possibly a rhinoceros,
yeah,
sitting on something like for the crack to make you smile every
yeah.
time you
And I
walk out.
think, I think as well, like people are so past remarkable about housing stuff. Like you actually have to go into your little cocoon and say,
Oh yeah.
I am unavailable for comment.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
Great phrase. I'm
I'm
unavailable for
just,
comment on
I'm
this.
unavailable for this feedback. Like, because our kitchen is black. Like, and if you said that we have a black kitchen, people would be like, ooh, it's going to be a nightmare to clean. It's going to really show up the dust and blah blah
Looks
blah.
great.
It looks great. And look, if there's dust on it, there's fucking dust everywhere. And like, you know, our floorboards are white and it's like, oh God, that'll really chip and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, just go away. Everyone has an opinion. It's the same as all the shite talk when you're pregnant and
Oh gee, the
the high
very
bump and all
same.
that. It's the
Yeah,
same.
the
It's
same
the same
thing.
because everyone, I think, wants to maybe justify their own existence by making you the same. So
Oh,
if
this.
you opt to, like, even when we were moving Ballycotton, I think there was people would have been happier for us to stay down there because, you
Oh
know, stay
yeah,
down there in pure misery because it
yeah.
doesn't suit them that we got to get to this amazing, lovely, like near to town location. I think it's kind of blown their minds that we were able to do that. But sure, the reason we were able to fucking do it was because Ballycotton, you know, like
Yeah.
it was the stepping stone we needed. And I moved down to Ballycotton with an open heart that I was going to live there. I thought I was going to
But it's
be
just as well.
making jam.
Yeah, as well as it's just as well that you had a road to Damascus coming to Jesus moment. You're like, no,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
not for me. This is
No.
not for me at
And
all.
and I think a wise time to have it because I do know a lot of like elderly move to Ballycotton.
Mm?
And it's like you have just moved away from the good hospitals, my friend.
Yeah,
Welcome
yeah, yeah.
to being on the road to Cork a lot. And like Ballycotton is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It is absolutely beautiful. I am a girl that lived there during the winter, the harsh old winter.
The
And
only
I'm
time I've
also a
seen it was for
person.
Sea Church, and it was gorgeous. But in
It
my
is
first head was
gorgeous.
like, oh, this would turn you fucking upside down on a bad day in the winter.
And also, you see, if you're a ferociously friendly person that's going to make effort to get to know your neighbors and send your children to the local school, then it'll be fine for you. But if you're somebody that's like, oh, she won't be going to the local school and I don't understand why you're here talking to me, then you're very suspicious. Like we made no effort. So like if I think I probably knew somewhere in my soul that this was not
Oh,
going
you
to be forever.
100% did. You
Yeah, I
100%
just
did.
didn't bring it to the forefront
Yeah.
because I had driven that road hundreds of times going before we bought the house going, yeah, it's far away, but it's fine. It was kind of an act of rebellion. I was like, I'm going to live in this seaside village. I need to be near the sea. And I don't know who I was rebelling against, myself. And so like I couldn't bring the thought to the forefront that maybe I'd made a mistake. So I
Yeah.
had to wait the old 5 years. And then it came into focus that we live a bit far away. But look, it all worked out. It all worked out well. And like that feeling of having that good house around you, the house that you love, like that is such a privilege, Tom. Like, and even to be building,
Oh,
like it's so when you think about the way the world is, it is such a privilege. And like, you know, to be the privilege of having notions, I'm very aware of it. Like, as
but
in,
it's good that's then notions are fine. In fact, notions are hilarious when you are fully aware that you're having notions.
oh
There's
yeah,
nothing worse, and you know full well in this business too. You meet someone, you're like, for whatever reason they've gotten to a position, and you're like, ah, yeah, but you know why, like,
yeah,
and they
yeah,
have completely wiped the slate. It's because I'm amazing. You're like, huh?
yeah,
Oh no,
yeah,
all
yeah.
right. And I'm not saying okay, everybody's allowed to have their own opinion on themselves, but you should be, it's endearing when somebody can at least be self-reflective and go, class
And
or
I
what?
think
You
you've
know,
you've pointed something out to me that I haven't thought about before. There are two types of notions. There are people that have notions that they're oblivious to. They're
yeah,
called pricks.
yeah.
And then there's people that are aware they have notions and are doing notionsy things. But
With an ironic twist, like you're like,
it's kind of
yeah,
like, yeah, look, I know I think it's actually a bit extra. I think it's that
yeah, yeah,
horrible
yeah,
phrase
yeah.
as opposed to being like, you know, it's not that you think you're any better than anyone else. It's like how much crack would it be to have a slide? That's what it is.
Yeah, oh, it is, yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
How much crack would it be to have this lovely boy that I knew who owned a cafe, who then was on a big swanky RTE show, has a piano in his kitchen? How lovely would it be to get that man to do my house?
Yeah,
And actually ended up having a gorgeous, gorgeous friendship with him. Like he'd be a friend now. Do you know what he's one of the good ones. He's not one of the stupid ones that I collected.
he's not a wave.
No, he's not away for a stray. He's a top notch guy. But for a while after him being here, I couldn't make any decisions about the house. I felt like being like, David, I'm thinking of buying a white
Toast. I
cup.
need I
Yeah,
need
yeah.
toast. Do I need
I'm going
toast, David?
do I need Brennan's bread or what would you like? For a while I'd say he was like, okay, Laura, I'm off the clock now. You go do what you need to do.
You see, the problem was you had brought in a new son. This is what it was, and you hadn't birthed him,
I
so he
think he was
was.
my therapy dog. I actually think he was my therapy dog slash therapist. I was like, this calming
We're
man that
bringing you on
rocks up.
holidays. They'll
Yeah,
let you
yeah.
sit at my feet on the plane. It'll be fine.
Can I just hold you for a minute, please? Now I feel better. Yeah, no, he was definitely some sort of security blanket. So now he's still that, but mainly just a pal.
Oh,
He has
good.
less security blanketing to do.
Hey, listen, we could natter the head off each other, but we've
Yeah,
got another whole evening of nattering with
yeah.
each other in
We're
on
we're gigging
Saturday
this
night.
weekend.
We're
Yeah.
geeking this weekend at my very own comedy club. I can't wait for you to see it.
Now, what time am I coming down? Will you please remind me?
Show one kicks off at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Okay,
And
perfect.
then
Perfect. Perfect.
you'll be on, and then we'll have a break, and Neil can be on, and we can nip away for a bite to eat or whatever, if you want
Perfect.
between the shows,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you can just hang out in the green room and just.
Perfect. Oh, well, I usually like to be weird. That's what happens to me, I find. I think it's since I think is it from having babies and now being at comedy clubs with like younger comedians.
Yeah.
If there's a gap like that, I just find it go so weird. I'm like, okay, I'm gone weird now. I have to just, if there's a kind of a chit chat, like it wouldn't be that case with you and Neil because we'd be contemporaries. But the amount of times recently that I've like, I just go sit weirdly in the car. And then you're sitting
Oh no,
weirdly
I
in the
get
car
that. Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
somebody walks past, like one of the other comedians walk past, and then you're like, now they've seen me sitting weirdly in the
yeah,
car. Now I'm just
yeah.
weird. I'm just that weird
I
old
get
one.
that. Yeah,
Do you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? I just become ferociously unusual. It's
Oh,
such a
what
weird
what
hindrance.
what I guarantee will happen to you is show one will the audience will exit into the bar, and they will be at up to 90
Yeah.
because that's the way they are. They'll be up to fucking 90 having the greatest time. You'll end up mingling out there because you'll want a 7 Up or something, and you'll be
Yeah.
trying to, and before you know it, they'll go, "Oh my God, I love you." And you're like, "Jesus Christ, I'm not going nowhere, Tom. This is
I'll
the
I'll
greatest
come
night of
home
my life."
and I'll be booked in for 10 hen nights and 4 weddings.
But you of course have a podcast as well after leaving Red FM. You left Red
Yes.
FM, and I
Yes.
love the name of it. It has so many connotations, doesn't it? Like
It's so spiteful, isn't it? I love
it,
a bit of spite. So, in a nutshell, I was on Breakfast Radio, Cork's Red FM. Me,
what's Neil Denham or Neil Denham or
what's Neil Prendeville like?
Neil
Lovely.
Prendeville?
What's Neil Delaware like?
Just
Also
don't fly
lovely.
with him.
Um, so we were on the breakfast show, me, Kira Revens, and Rob Heffernan, Olympic walker Rob Heffernan, and basically a new company bought the old company, and the new boss fired Rob. And I did not approve of that. So then I left as a result. Because I don't believe in corporate bricks coming in
It is rare you
and
find that
firing me
these
men.
days when somebody
Yeah.
will walk away from the corporate that are on morals.
Oh, I couldn't. I
Yeah, I
witnessed.
get it. I
I
get it.
witnessed the moment, and you see, I'm not corporate. I am that artistic
Yeah.
soul, and I knew the value of Rob as a person. I kind of felt we had enough people on our airwaves that were, very slick and come on, guys, coming up next is Ed Sheeran. And I'm like, Rob is not that. And I feel like he was what the world needed was like a more rounded, doty, lovely, kind man, but also like with that killer fucking instinct because he's obviously been to 5 Olympics. So they said to me that to have my baby and we'd chat afterwards. And I was like, well, there's no chat afterwards. I actually resigned on air, which was quite chic.
What? Did
Yeah,
ya?
yeah, I
Why did I
did.
not know this?
Yeah, we um it came to the point where like they want long story short, they wanted Rob to issue a kind of a bland statement. And Rob's like, I'm not going to do that. Walk around the people of Cork. Like, I don't want them to think that I've never given up anything in my life, blah, blah, blah. So
Good man.
he said it on air. And I said to him I said to him, did he want me to also say it on the same day? Because I didn't want to take any limelight from him. But equally, I didn't want to, a couple of days later, be like, well,
Oh,
I'm
I'm
leaving
going.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just decided there. And he was like, if you want to. At no point did he put any pressure on me. So I said, fuck it, we'll go for it. So we did. But we
Did
got to
anybody
stay
know
on
who was
air.
coming? Did anybody know it was
No,
coming?
no, 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 no. And we got to stay on air for about another 6 weeks, which was chaos. But we were, we honored our contract, and we wanted to be very respectful of the other girl that was on with us because we were contractors and she was an employee, and we didn't want to make anything ever awkward for her.
Yeah.
So we were mostly very well behaved. We did get one or two little snidey comments in.
Good.
And I do think that Rob finished off on our last day. He did get a chucky garloin. He said,
What's it?
as the great John Spillane once said, Chucky Garlow. It was amazing. So when we left then, like it was always our intention to do a podcast then.
Yeah.
Because we knew like we got it. The thing about it is on breakfast radio, we didn't have you've so little time.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's really, really hard. You don't really get to be fully yourself. You have to kind of be like, oh my God, Dua Lipa. You have to be that. And so me and Rob used chat off air, and those chats were so enjoyable. And Kira as well, they were the real stuff about our lives, stuff about our kids, like, his real opinions and stuff, his loud thoughts about everything. We used to have just ferocious crack. And so we planned to do the podcast, but it was really like I was going to wait until March, until I'd had the baby. And Rob was like, no, we'll be forgotten. He's like, we need to try and get at least one or two done before you have the baby. So we launched last November, and it's called Red Raw, and it's just such a pleasure, Tom, like to be free. Like, I think we'd never actually regret the radio because now we know what it is to be free and to be able to be our real selves and to have our real thoughts. And we don't have all the answers, and we're not slick. And it is very raw because that's what we want to do. We don't want to do this compliant corporate bollocks anymore.
No.
I'd still be there. Do you know what I mean? But I think, like, my husband calls us blood brothers. He's like, well, you're blood brothers now because of the fact that the way that the radio ended. But like, we are tremendous pals, and it's like we enjoy talking to each other. We've had guests on as well, a few guests. We've only had 3 guests to date. But like, it's just that feeling of being able to talk about stuff that we've wanted to speak about, but you can't talk about on the radio because you've got 2 minutes. Do you know what I mean? It
must be what the North Koreans feel like when they get across the DMZ and they can just finally go, fuck that guy.
Just the freedom of it. And like, genuinely, we're a year on now. Like, this time last year, I was crying on a couch. He got fired on my birthday. I was crying on a swinging couch out the front. We were fucking devastated because it was just pulled out from under us. But a year on, I'm like, I have no malice towards anything that went on. The way it played out, like, I wouldn't be a rebellious soul. He definitely drew the rebel out in me. But because I felt it was so wrong, I just felt like this is fucking stupid. This is stupid. But I think we kind of realize now that we're not. Of course, we could do a radio show. There's nothing suggests that we couldn't, but this is more suited.
Yeah, of course.
We're more suited to us. To this, and it's going really well. Like, I want it to go better, but it is already amazing. You're never satisfied.
Of course. Yeah.
You want it to be like fucking 17 nights in the 3 Arena. Do you know? We'll get there. We've one night in the Everyman on September 14th.
That's incredible.
It's already nearly sold out. So like, that's fab. And you could, like, a year ago, I would have hoped for this. But I just was so afraid that it would be almost like, Rob always likens it to like when you make friends on holidays and then you come back from holidays and it's like, oh, fuck, that's actually gone. But it's not that. So we're delighted. I think that was one of the things that was really getting me, is like, I don't want to not get my kind of weekly dose of Rob Heffernan as a friend. And so now we still have that. So it's great. And the people of Ireland have it in the real unfiltered way, as opposed to like, okay, guys, we're going to go to the cash machine. Fuck off.
I know, yeah. Jesus Christ. But that it must be lovely for, I suppose, the support too. Would not. I bet people left radio listening and go, oh, great. These two have, I like them anyway. But now there's no shite and ads, and now I can go listen to. So Cork is great for supporting its own, and it's a great, like, it's heartwarming to see it. But also,
and like, we want to go outside of Cork.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
totally. But as well, a load of people have been like, "Oh, I didn't like you on the radio at all." which,
That's
I mean,
hilarious. That's brilliant.
so many. I didn't like you on the radio at all. A woman said to me today, she goes, my niece used to love you on the radio and I didn't even know you were on it. I was like, I mean, was it really worth saying this to me, girl?
What an entire sentence of rubbish there, woman.
Where's the compliment in it? I don't see it. Because she
That's
said I think she still thought I was in Red FM. I went, well, I'm gone now, girl. I went full Cork. I was like, well, I'm gone now. But it's, yeah, a lot of people were like, sure, you weren't yourselves on the radio at all. And you couldn't have said that to us at the time. Because at the time, I
you're
was like,
probably
I am
taller
myself.
and everything on the radio. I'd say, were you? Just
I'm gigantic on the radio. I'm so tall. I'm fucking love Ed Sheeran so much. But no, like, as in, to be able to be free is just, oh, you could, at the time, if you said to me, and a few people did, you're not yourself on the radio, I'd have been like, how dare you? I am, of course, I thought I was myself.
yeah, of course, yeah. Because
if you had processed it and you'd be like, oh fuck, I'm not being authentic at all. But now it's like, oh no, I get it now, and you're playing a character because you have to, because it's breakfast radio.
I know.
And whoever has decided that breakfast radio is that kind of zany, oh my god, come on guys, how often do you wash your legs in the shower? Whoever's decided it's that, I'm not certain it's the listener. I don't think the listener wants that shite.
I think, I don't know. Do some want it? Like once a month I do a morning Saturday show and spin in Limerick, and I don't think I really want to do it, but I was at, and it's enjoyable. It's with Katie Sheehan, but I make it a point to go, I hate this.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here. I'm a stand-up
Yeah.
comedian. I tell dick jokes for a living.
Yeah.
And she, God bless, but she keeps on going. So we're just gonna cut to, we're gonna cut to Dua Lipa there. She's coming. No, we're not playing. I hate music. Why are we doing music? This is rubbish. It's an absolutely pointless. And for some reason, anti-hero things have happened. People now are listening, going, "Oh, great!" But I'm all but swearing, Laura. I am on a podcast, bollocking somebody out of it. Like they're going, we're going to go to, you will not, how dare you go against the Lord's, the Lord did not intend for me to come on this. Just being a bollocks to the whole thing. Yeah,
would be great. Like, I think me and Rob would actually thrive in a kind of a 10 o'clock nighttime show where we could do more of that. You're very stuck with the school run. You have to.
Oh, it's cat-like.
I said fallopian tubes one time on air, and there was nearly a Stewart's inquiry as to like, you can't talk about fallopian tubes at that hour of the morning. I mean, like, or Rob mentioned something about drink, and straight away it was like, you can't. No. Drinking doesn't be a thing, really.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because heaven forbid.
Because it's family. I totally get it. But at the same time, I'm glad to not have to get it, and I just needed to be able to look myself in the face, and I'm like, I can't walk in the door of there after having my baby and pretend to be delighted when I think he made a fucking big mistake.
Yeah, well, thank God you had that level of actually chutzpah, because
chutzpah. I've always wanted to have chutzpah.
Oh, there you go. It's good juju to have chutzpah. So
we're all about the good juju and the chutzpah.
Hey, this has been class. Red Raw, I will put the Spotify link in the show notes below, obviously. Do you know what? I can't wait. I can't, because normally we go, I can't wait till the next time I see you. It's fucking Saturday.
It's Saturday. I'll be up to you. I'll be up to you in plenty of time.
Class.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks a million. Pure class. She's class, isn't she? How class is that? Thanks a million, Laura. I'm saying thanks a million, Laura. She's probably not even gotten this far in the podcast, to be honest with you. Maybe she has. Or maybe we're going to start going into booking wedding gigs from now on. I'll let her lead the way, and people can tell us how much they love us afterwards. Hey, if you want to come see Laura, there's the early show. That's when you'll get to see Laura next, literally, as you're listening to this tomorrow night in the Hill. Come see us. She'll be class, as you can be guaranteed. If you want to support the show, there's a Patreon. Go ahead. Become a Patreon. You support the show. You get the Ramble Pods. You get the ad-free content of this. And you get the videos. And you get the live Ramble Pods. And kind of the heads up and the inside backtrack that you can't really be talking about on open airwaves, if you know what I mean. So that's the benefit of that. If it's your first time subscribing, hit the bell, whatever it is. Hit the, I don't know, whatever icon says this will be here every time it pops up. You know what I mean? And give it a rating. Give it a 5-star rating. And sure, look it. Follow me on all the usual platforms. Tom O'Mahony Comedy or the Tom O'Mahony Show. Just to keep your finger on the pulse of it all. If you have any building related inquiries, I'm an expert. I'm an absolute expert now on volexology at the very least. But look at, going away, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I'll chat to you again the next day. Good luck.